all ages together in one room, and also that showcases the potential of all Roedean girls. And one of our girls actually won an award for Women of Achievement through a magazine competition that we advertised on our Facebook group. And that was the inspiration for this, because we thought there must be some other OR winners out there. And so we started to look, and we didn't have to look very hard. All four of our panellists are award-winning and superior in the fields that they've chosen. And when we rang them up, they all very kindly said yes straight away. So they're also easy to get. So any of you looking for mentors out there, these four are perfect candidates and very good Old Roedean girls. I think they're going to introduce themselves, but I'd just like to thank them in advance for the time they've spent on this event and for being with us here this evening. The way it's going to work is we've taken the questions in advance on your booking forms, and we've selected the 11 best questions. Claudia is going to go around with the mic and give it to the people that post the questions so that they can ask it in true question time style. The event's being filmed, so at the request of our overseas members who are unable to be with us this evening. So I hope you enjoy, and feel free to chip in at the end of the questions.
Thank you, Sasha, for your introduction. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very excited to have the honour of chairing tonight's panel. Before I ask each of our talented panellists to introduce themselves, I would like to share something with you. The other day I was watching a TED Talk online. I don't know if many of you are familiar with TED Talks, but for those that aren't, TEDtalks.com is an online site featuring videoed talks given by inspirational leaders. So the other evening, I was watching a talk given by a lady called Sheryl Sandberg, the COO of a small and fairly known company called Facebook. Now, there was one point that Sheryl made in her talk that really struck a chord with me. She said that over the lifetime of her career, she'd noticed a theme amongst her female colleagues. And this theme, quite simply put, was that women don't sit at the table. I.e., they don't stick their hands up, or they don't necessarily put themselves forward for stretch roles. And as a result, sometimes they're not at the decision-making table. So if this is true, let's correct it now. I'd like to congratulate each and every one of you, because tonight you are here. You are at that dinner table, despite the fact that it's snowy and cold outside. So please, make the most of this opportunity. Speak, connect, and learn from each of the ORs on your table. Because I am sure there is someone in this room tonight who can help propel you to the table that you're aiming for in your career. Now I'm going to ask each of our wonderful panellists to introduce themselves.
Hello, good evening. My name is Kirstin Duffield, name proper. I was at Roedeanians 2, 84-29, during Anne Longley's reign, and I now run a software company based in Dorset, supplying specialist products for reinsurance brokers in the City of London and within the Lloyd's Alternative. I have studied at Dr. Brooks University, computer science and cartography, and I'm a fellow at BCS. I'm a freeman with the Worshipful Company of Information Technologists, and I hold a marketing diploma, certificate in insurance and in compliance.
Hello, good evening. My name is Rebecca Osborne. I'm in the entertainment industry. I'm a film producer and company managing director, and I founded a company called Quicksilver Films in 2007. and recently made my first feature film called Forget Me Not, which is a wonderful love story, and it's available on iTunes, Love Film, Amazon. And I'm now putting together my next film, which has a lead female protagonist. It's a conspiracy thriller. And I've also recently set up a new company called Boudica Films, and I'm looking to finance third-party films and become an executive producer.
My name is Jennifer Harris. I run a business called Board Intelligence, and we specialise in helping boards of PLC companies work better.
My name is Seema Sharma. I was at Roedean from 1983 to 1985. I have very fond memories of Lawrence House, Mr. England setting himself on fire. Went on behind the smash course. Apart from that, I escaped relatively unscathed and went on to do dentistry at Guy's, practiced as a practicing dentist for about 10 years. Set up 4 practices eventually, although I've sold a couple now. And currently I'm in the space of personal development, so I have a practice management training company for dentists called Dentibite Limited, and I've been running a medical training company with my husband called Medibite for several years as well.
Brilliant, thank you all. So now we're going to start with questions. So the first question that we have is from Fleur Cook and Claudia.
Good evening. My question is, I am always trying to give my daughter advice about her future to help her in her life. If you could time travel back to talk to your school-leaving self, what advice would you give her?
Well, if I could time travel back to myself, I would say to myself and to anyone else to say yes to any opportunity that comes your way, to explore all your interests as fully and as much as you can, and to network more. So I left school and I started my degree, my BA degree, and then I had several job opportunities. The first one was at Sotheby's, and the second one was at a private property company. And then I did my master's, and then at the time I thought, well, these are not correlated to the industry I want to get into, which is the entertainment industry. And I didn't know if I could sort of study and work as well. Now looking back, I wish I had taken those opportunities further, and you realise that all experience is good experience, whatever industry you're in, and those skills are always transferable. And as you grow older, you take on more roles as a wife, mother, etc. You realise life is actually about juggling, and in your 20s you certainly have the energy to juggle as much as you can. So I would never turn anything down and try every interest and opportunity that I could do.
Great, thank you, Rebecca. The next question we have is from Selina Yan.
My question is, as women who succeeded in traditionally male-dominated industries, what advice would you give to those who are starting out in their careers?
I think that one was mine. 3 pieces of advice I can think of off the top of my head. Know your environment, want to be there, and generally, as a whole profession everyone's choosing, know your stuff. In my experience working in the 1 2/3 square mile of the City of London, it doesn't get much more male-orientated than that. Combine that with insurance rather than banking, and also IT, and I'm pretty well a minority to put it mildly. But I think we've come in at the end of a generation where women were fighting for their rights, they were fighting for their ability to be treated equally, and now perhaps actually controversially the tables have turned. We have to remember that if you want to work in the city, you have to want to be there. So someone who's scared of flying is not going to make a very good pilot. Someone who is squeamish is not going to work terribly well in A&E. And if you're a 5'2", size 6 woman, you're unlikely to make a good builder. So if you don't like public transport commuting, hubs, or indeed are not comfortable working around half the population blessed with amazing egos, undeniable self-belief, debatable choices of morning conversation, especially if they happen to be football followers or readers of The Sun, then don't work in the city. Speak up. If you've actually heard enough football chatter, then ask the subject to be changed. it's not a problem. But make sure you show your honorary bloke status before you call time. My trip is always swat up on football results on a Sunday evening and stand in good stead for the whole week. My parents, and I think would all agree, our school forgot to tell us a couple of important things. The most important was that we were to expect to be discriminated against. We always assumed, as I did, that we were able to have as much right to those opportunities and to those remarkable opportunities for us to be able to reach our goals. But my goal has been to provide a fantastic, relaxed, supportive company for my staff so that they can reach their goals, so that they're not held back in any way, and because they want to come to work because that's what they want to do during the day. My goal hasn't been to make millions of pounds, that would be nice in a way, but does that make me any less successful? I feel as much guilt for achieving as underachieving, but as women I think we all agree we have a guilt ship surgically programmed in at birth, and we have to write a bypass routine so that it doesn't hold us back. As far as gaining respect that you desire and need to survive in the city, education in your chosen field only really starts when you leave university. Understand your clients, immerse yourself in their business, ask a lot of questions, and if necessary, do professional qualifications and networking in your clients' and suppliers' industries rather than just your own.
Perfect. Thank you, Kirstin, for that. And next question is a question that I submitted, actually. Slightly quirky question. If you were to invite anyone, alive or dead, to a dinner party, who would it be and why? So let's start off with you, Seema.
I think I would probably invite Jamie Oliver, so that he could. He's not my strong point. I rather like the image that he's projected. He has gone out there with a difficult topic around healthy eating and really created quite a stir. I work in the healthcare industry, so we are constantly battling with things like sugars and unhealthy foods. My husband's a doctor, I'm a dentist. So I really like the work he does in schools, for sure. And yes, I rather like his recipe books because every recipe seems to take 2 minutes.
Jen?
Now, I couldn't choose between two, I'm afraid. One of whom is slightly more on topic than the other. One of whom is William Wilberforce, for no other reason than I'm just genuinely fascinated by what he accomplished. He, in the 1700s, committed his life to campaigning for the abolition of slavery, and I think what struck me about him was that he alienated the establishment for most of his life, the establishment that he himself was a part of, but he pursued his passion without any equivocation, and 18 years later proved successful. The other person I would like to invite, if I'm allowed to, a bit more on topic, would be Dame Helen Alexander. She is one of the very few chairwomen of PLC organisations, PLC businesses. She was the chairman of the CBI, Federation of British Industry. She was managing director of the Economist Group. She's on the board of Rolls-Royce and the chairman of Incisive Media and the London Ports Authority. But what impresses me about her is that she's remained a woman, a very feminine woman. Most of the women that you meet in the upper echelons of business, to all intents and purposes, they could just as well be men. And she is most definitely not. I think the two of them together might be rather curious dinner guests, but they are my pick.
Rebecca?
I'd like to invite Coco Chanel because she was a feminist. She helped take women from corsets into trousers, and she did it with so much class and style. And I like the fact that she combined her self-beliefs with a commercial business, and I admire that.
I'd like to go back a little bit further in time. I'd like to invite Ada Lovelace. She was the daughter of Lord Byron, and she was the inventor, simply because I'm here obviously with the technology hat on, of the first computer language. I think I would have been really interested to find out if she thought her position as a scientist in an age where women were barely, well, certainly weren't even allowed to own property, whether she would have ever expected to have got an accolade rather than Charles Babbage being accredited with the invention of the computer.
Perfect. Thank Thank you. All very interesting guests, and I'd love to be at each of those dinner parties.